All right, listen, I want to ask you a question real quick. Do you know anyone in your life who's just a bad texter? You know what I mean? They're a good person, just not very good at texting. Just kind of a bad texter. Some of you are looking at your parents right now. All right, now listen, if you don't know what a bad texter is, I searched this up this week. I put in Google, I put bad texter. This is what came up. All right, so if you're like, well, how would I know? Here's the standard. Bad texting, inconsistent communication, slow replies, short or uninspiring responses. I like that one. Or a general lack of effort in engaging in texting conversations. I'm not gonna lie, when I first read that, I was like, me, every one of them. Basically, that's anyone over 30 right there, okay? Now listen, I'll give you some examples. Do you know anyone who doesn't quite know how to use acronyms in texting? A few years ago, my wife Jenny was texting with her mom, and it was about a very, very serious health situation that was going on with someone, and someone was in the hospital, and it was very serious. And so Jenny's kind of pouring all this out to her mom, and then her mom responded with this, LOL, because she thought that meant lots of love. It doesn't. Spoiler alert for some of you. Or, okay, how about this? What about the person who does not know how to appropriately use emojis? I'm gonna give you a tip right here. Just don't ever send fruit and vegetables. Just avoid that. Been there. Anyways, all right, that's free advice. Dads are notorious for this one. This is a dad hack right here. Dads are notorious for this one. Like you pour out your heart to your dad. You're like the stress of carrying a job along with a full load of classes. And man, you just pour it all out there. It's one of those texts you got to do this with. And you just lay it all out there. And he reads all this and you get this incredibly thoughtful response back. That's dad right there. But the bad texting practice that gets me more than any other is just when you get no response back. Someone just went, ooh, yeah. You text someone, you don't hear anything back. I do it all the time to others, by the way, but I hate it when it's done to me. When you don't hear anything back, here's what happens. And I don't know if you're like me. Like when you don't hear anything back, you start rethinking everything. You're trying to figure out why in the world they haven't responded. So I don't know if you ever did. You're like, maybe it didn't send. Maybe I never hit send. You pick it up, you're like, no, I sent it. Put it down. About an hour later, you come back. You're like, well, did I spell their baby's name wrong? Nope, it's Sage with a J. Time out real quick. Can we just stop with the alternate spellings of names, please? I love you. Let's just stop. Anyways, you're like, no, it's Sage with a J. Put it down. About an hour later, you come in. Maybe they're just at work, but work's done, nothing. And then you realize they saw it, but they chose not to respond, and they left you on red. That's messed up. And then it's kind of weird when you see them again. Like you see them at work, you see them around, whatever, you see them in your neighborhood, whatever, and you're like, do you bring it up? Do you address it? Now listen, getting no response and being left on red it's one thing with a friend or a coworker or a neighbor. But what do you do when it feels like God has left you on red? When the circumstances of life leave you feeling weighed down. And so you reach out and you call out and you hope for God to do something, and yet you feel like you get no response. One of the things that I love most whenever you read the eyewitness accounts of Jesus' life in the scriptures is just how honest they are. They are so real, so raw, so honest. The people in the scriptures that are lifted up as examples of faith, you know what they do? They struggle. And they doubt, and they question, and they fail, which I don't know about you, but that makes me feel right at home. And then there's this encounter that Jesus has with a hurting person that I want to unpack today for just a few minutes that gives voice to any of us who have ever faced a little bit of disappointment in life, and in particular, any of us who felt like God has left us on red with no response. To give you a little bit of context for what we're about to see, Jesus at this point he's about to get word about a man who was at the point of dying. But this wasn't just any man to Jesus. As you'll see in just a second, this was a friend of Jesus. His name was Lazarus, and Lazarus had two sisters, Mary and Martha, and over time, Jesus had become intimately close with this family. And so when Lazarus' health took a turn for the worse, the sisters did what was most natural to them. They did what was obvious to them. They reached out to Jesus. This is what it says in John 11. It says, so the two sisters sent a message to Jesus, telling him, Lord, your dear friend is very sick. That's it. Now notice, they didn't ask Jesus for anything, did they? There's no request being made here, is there? Why? Because they knew they didn't have to. They knew that Jesus had given sight to the blind. They knew that Jesus had healed a sick little 12-year-old girl. They knew that he had given a man who could not walk the ability to walk. And so they figured, look, he healed all those people, so of course he's going to do something for Lazarus, his dear friend, his bro. All Jesus needs to know, he just needs to know, that's it. We don't even have to ask. He just needs to know that his friend is sick, and of course, he's going to move to action. So they fired off that text. They fired off that message, and then they waited. And John, who wrote down the words that we're reading here today, was an eyewitness to this event. He saw it with his own eyes, and he recorded in detail what he saw and heard. And John goes out of his way to make sure that anyone who reads this account afterwards, like we're doing today, needs to know that Jesus loved this family and loved this man Lazarus like a brother. And the reason why John wants to stress that is because of what Jesus did next. Because see, you would expect that Jesus hears this news of his friend Lazarus being sick, and he drops everything. He catches the first Uber, donkey, whatever they used back then. He just hops on that thing, and he hightails it to the village where Lazarus was and the sisters. But nope. What Jesus does next shocks everyone around him. This is what it says. It says, so although Jesus loved Martha, Mary, and Lazarus, John's like, I promise he did. And although he loved them, what did he do? He stayed where he was for the next 2 days. Now, can you imagine for a second? Just imagine what Martha must have felt. She sent this message. She's waiting for the reply. She's sitting there. She's looking over the horizon, constantly checking every hour. Is he coming? Is he coming? And she's waiting to see that messenger come back. And finally, she sees someone come over that ridge, and it's just one person. It's the messenger, and Jesus is nowhere to be seen. And I would imagine in that moment that Martha felt all the things we tend to feel in the gap of unexplained silence. Maybe insecurity. Like, did I not ask right? Maybe I should have framed it different. Shame. Am I being punished for something? Did I do something wrong? Is that why he didn't come? Anger. Well, does he not care? And then the unthinkable happened. While they were waiting on Jesus to do something, Lazarus died. And a couple of days pass, and Jesus finally decides to travel to Lazarus' hometown to be with his family, and a scene is about to unfold. Because Martha sees Jesus from a distance, and she sets off to meet him on the road, because you know why? She's got some questions for Jesus. She's got some things on her mind. Then she needs to get off of her mind and get to Jesus. And so Martha, she gives voice in this moment to the most real, honest ache of the heart that anyone who's ever experienced deep disappointment understands. Listen to what she said. Martha said to Jesus, Lord, if only you had been here. Where were you? If only you had been here, my brother wouldn't have died. Have you ever felt disappointed in God? Some of you are like, can you say that in church? Yeah, Martha did. Martha looked straight into the face of Jesus and put her heart on her sleeve. And she said, if only you'd been here. I'm frustrated. I'm confused. I'm upset. I'm heartbroken. I'm disappointed. I trusted you, and you didn't come through. I thought you loved us. Jesus, I expect life to disappoint me. But not you. You ever had an if only moment with God? Look, even if you're here today and you're not sure what you believe, you're like some of you, you're here today for the first time and been back in church, like it's been a long, long time since you've been in church. Some of you, this is your first time ever in a church. And you're not sure what you believe. You're not sure about the whole faith, God, Jesus stuff. That's right, but I just think this is true for every one of us. It doesn't matter what you believe. There's something in us, isn't there? when we run out of options in life, when we hit bottom, when we get disappointed, there's something in all of us at least that wants to believe that there is a God, even if we're not sure there is. This is why we find ourselves almost instinctively doing things like looking up. We don't even know why we do it. We just kind of look up and we say things like, boy, I could really use some help right now. And it feels, when you do that, it feels like you risk and you prayed and you reach and you took a step and then nothing. And you find yourself feeling, if only my parents could have worked it out. God, where were you? If only my business hadn't have collapsed. God, did you even see that? Were you even paying attention? If only I were a little prettier, if only I were stronger, if only I were smarter, things would be a lot different. If only my ex had not betrayed me. If only you had healed our baby. If only my kid wouldn't have fallen in with those people. If only I'd gotten that job. If only. And Martha's got her if onlys. And she brings him to Jesus. But she doesn't stop there. The next words out of her mouth must have taken so much courage. Because this is what she said next. But even now, I know that God will give you whatever you ask. It's like she's saying, Jesus, I know that you can do greater things. Even though the circumstances around me at the moment speak otherwise, I know that you can do greater things. See, there's two sort of fundamental ways we can deal with disappointment in our life. One way is to deny it. Some of us are here today, we're really good deniers. You know what I mean? We just pretend like it didn't hurt, pretend like it wasn't that big of a deal. We just deny it, deny the disappointment. Another way, though, is kind of the opposite end of the spectrum. It's not deny it, we become defined by it. It's everything to us. We find ourselves, when we're defined by it, saying things like, well, things will never change. We say stuck as a victim of our own circumstances. And I want you to see this. Martha does something absolutely remarkable here. She does not deny it. No, she said if only. She was honest. She lays it all out to Jesus. I'm disappointed. But she also makes this statement of faith. I'm not going to be defined by it. I'm not going to let this drive me away from you, Jesus. I'm going to let this draw me to you. I want you to know that you can live with both of these realities side by side. If only, you can be honest about it. But even now, your disappointment, even with God at times, does not have to drive you away from God. It can draw you to Him. You can be ruthlessly honest with God. He can handle all of you. Every doubt, every struggle, every burden, every disappointment. God can handle your if-onlys. You don't have to deny it, but you also don't have to let it define you and cut off your faith. And Martha chooses to hold both of these together. And now it's Jesus' turn to speak. Jesus told her, Martha, your brother will rise again. Martha said, yeah, I know. He'll rise when everyone else rises at the last day. Let me ask you a question real quick. You ever had someone offer you a piece of advice or try to comfort you or something like that when something's going wrong, and it's just kind of empty what they say? You know what I mean? They mean well, but it's like all they can muster is, well, you'll see them again in heaven one day. You're like, well, how about tomorrow? I'd like to see them tomorrow here. Or something's going on at work or some challenge in your life. They're like, hey, everything's going to work out. You're like, good. Can that everything happen now? And again, they mean well, but it just kind of feels empty in the moment. And I have a feeling that this is kind of one of those moments for Martha, because Martha kind of dismisses it. And she's like, yeah, I know, Jesus. I'll see him again one day. I'll see him again. But I need you to see this. Jesus is saying, time out, Martha. Hold up. You're missing the point. I'm not trying to comfort you with some cliche right now. Jesus is saying, I'm trying to reveal to you who I am and what I am capable of. There are greater things I can do, Martha, and that I will do that you cannot comprehend in this moment. Your disappointment will not last. Why? Because of what he says next to her. And what Jesus says next to Martha might be one of the most remarkable claims that Jesus makes in all the scriptures. Jesus told her, I am the resurrection and the life. And anyone who believes in me will live, even after dying. And everyone who lives in me and believes in me will never, ever die. He didn't say that he could resurrect. He didn't say that he has the power to resurrect. He said he is the resurrection and the life. That all of the power of life and death lives in him. And at some point, I'm just going to shoot straight with you here. At some point, you got to decide what you do with that claim right there in that statement. You got to decide. In other words, you cannot hear someone make a claim like that I am the resurrection and the life. I hold the power of life and death in me. You can't hear those words of Jesus spoke there and just go, well, that's a nice idea. No. Anyone who claims that is either crazy, they're lying, or it's true. And you got to determine which one you think it is. And if it's true, then the only appropriate response would be to place our complete lives in his hands. That's the only appropriate response. Our hurts, our struggles, our sins, our hopes, our fears, if he alone holds the power of life and death, then he is owed our lives and is uniquely deserving of our trust. But he will never force that on you. Never. And he didn't force that on Martha that day. Instead, he asked her a very simple and yet profound question after making this claim. Do you believe this? Do you believe this, Martha? He doesn't ask, do you understand this? He doesn't ask, do you comprehend this? He asks, do you believe? Do you believe that I am who I say I am? And that I can do greater things in your life, even though you cannot see it right now? Do you believe that even in your disappointment, I have still been here? Do you believe that even when all hope seems lost, I have never left you alone? Do you believe that even in your waiting, I've never left you on red? Let me flip it around. Let me ask it a different way for us today. What do you believe? What do you believe? What is it that you've come to believe in light of the disappointment that life's brought your way? See, some of you are here today and you feel burdened. You walked into this place burdened and weighed down. Why? Because of the things you started to believe. You feel burdened and weighed down because you believe that things will never change. Some of you are here today and you are suffocating because you believe you are all alone. You believe no one can be trusted. Some of you believe God is angry at you. You believe God's disappointed in you. You believe God doesn't care. And Jesus is saying to you today, I'm asking you to drop all that for a second, and I'm asking you a very simple question. Will you believe in me? That I may be doing something that you cannot see. That I am close and involved, and that I hold the power of life and death in my hands, and I can be trusted even when it does not make sense. Jesus, 2,000 years later, is still asking this very simple question. Do you believe? Do you believe? Do you believe? Not does your grandmother believe. She's like, I know what she believes. I'm asking you. Not does your wife believe. That's not enough. Not does your pastor believe or the priest that you grew up with believe. You've got to make that decision for yourself. And no one else can make it for you. And Martha made her decision. Because right after Jesus asked that question, she responded very simply by saying, yes, Lord, I believe. And what she did not know is that greater things were still coming. Because not long after this encounter, actually just a few moments later, Jesus walked up to the grave that Lazarus was in and called that dead man back to life. And as you can imagine, you cannot raise a dead man to life and people not take notice. It was trending. And after they saw with their own eyes Lazarus walk out of that grave, the leading authorities at the region at the time, they knew they could not control this Jesus. And they became resolute to end his life. But they forgot something. He is the resurrection and the life. And 3 days after they brutally executed him on that cross, the history of our world changed forever. Because the one who holds the power of life and death defeated the grave once and for all. And he lives today. And he's asking you to believe. And the promise he gives is that if you do, you will experience disappointment. And you may be weighed down by the circumstances of this life, but you will not be crushed. Because the one who holds eternity in his hands, the one who defeated death in the grave, will walk with you. And guys, there is a peace that comes from this that it's almost hard to put into words. And I know you expect me to say that. I get it. But guys, I've tasted it. And I've seen it. And I've experienced it. Because I got a laundry list of disappointments. I don't know about you, but I got a long list of if-onlys with God. I've wrestled with my if-onlys for years. I had things happen to me as a kid that no kid should have to go through. No kid should have to go through. And for years, I found myself stuck saying, God, if only God, if only that wouldn't have happened. Where were you? Did you even see what was going on? And in light of that disappointment, I started to believe some things. I believed that the safest way through life was just to hide the truest parts of my life from everyone else. That's what I believed. I believed that if I could just numb out the disappointment that I felt with life and with God, I wouldn't have to face it. I believed I could just deny it. But see, the irony with denying it is that you end up becoming defined by it. Unable to move past it. Stuck in my own destructive choices, trying to manage and control the disappointment. And guys, I lied my way, and I used my way, and I cheated my way, and I drank my way through a lot of years, trying to carry the impossible burden of life on my own. And then one November night, during my sophomore year at the University of Louisville, I got confronted with Jesus Christ. And that same question that he asked Martha was put in front of me. It was like Jesus grabbed me by the shoulders and said, Jason, I know you're disappointed. I know. I know it does not make sense, but I am the resurrection and the life, and I have never not been here. And I know the weight of life is heavy, but it does not have to crush you. I can make all things new. Do you believe? And for the first time, I answered back, yes, I believe. And everything changed. Knowing that my eternity is secure, knowing that my relationship with God is restored has brought peace. Guys, it has brought peace that makes the disappointments that I've experienced in life pale in comparison. But it's not just me. It's not just me. I wanted you to hear Jen's story as well. Because Jen has experienced the freedom that comes from choosing to believe in the resurrection and the life, even while carrying the heavy weight of disappointment.
My name is Jen Perez, and I'm here to tell my story. I can remember going to church as a young child. We'd put on our Sunday dress clothes and go to church, and then if it was a really good Sunday, we'd get to go out to eat afterwards. My later teenage years, I pulled away from God. I did things that I knew I shouldn't be doing, and the more that I did it, the further away I felt. If it wouldn't have been for my parents' prayers and a few persistent friends that prayed for me, and I'm thankful for that, because I had a closer relationship with him, and it meant a lot more to me at that time. It was deeper. So I ended up getting re-baptized at the age of 20. In 2000, I married my husband, and I got a stepdaughter, a beautiful stepdaughter. And then in 2005, we had our son. When you say your marriage vows, you say for better or for worse. And I don't think that when you're getting married, you actually think of the for worse part. You're young, you're in love, and you don't ever expect to really go through too much difficulties. I was having some pain in my chest, and they came back saying I had innumerable nodes and masses in both lungs. I've had 2 episodes, 2 clinical trials, and unfortunately they didn't work, and I kept having growth. The growth was in the brain, and usually when it goes to the brain, they say that expected lifespan is 6 to 18 months. It actually made me drop to my knees, crying and feeling like, where am I going to go from here? I didn't know how much time I had remaining on this earth. That was one of the biggest things that I was scared most about. Being a believer, I knew that going to heaven was going to happen if I did pass away, but the feelings of not wanting to pass away because you still have so much to live for. I wanted to see my son graduate high school, get married, have children. He's now a Marine. I feel like it's hard because he might be deployed soon, and not knowing when he gets off his deployment if I'll be here. Cancer stole a lot from me. It's taken my independence. As much as I loved coming to church and being amongst people, I never really asked God why. I think I asked him more, what is your purpose for my life through all of this? Because I believe that he has a greater purpose for my life. And as nervous as I was, going through a lot of these tests and procedures, multiple MRIs and multiple CTs, bone scans, I always had a peace at the time of the procedure. I had many people praying for that, and myself, that I would just have a peace and a calm come over me. I was kind of amazed because it was every time. It wasn't just one time for one test. God was there for me every single time. He's not failed me. One of the most important scriptures in my life going through this process has been Isaiah 41:10. And it says, "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will hold you with my righteous right hand." Knowing that he's there to help me, reaching down his hand to hold me up, it means so much to me. My relationship with God, I felt was like good, like just an ordinary, Christian person. But when I was diagnosed, it was something that I had to depend upon God. My life was in his hands. I had no say in what was going to happen. Learning to just depend upon him with my whole life, laying my problems at his feet, and not taking them on myself was just an important part, and it drew me closer to him. He knows everything I'm going through. Nothing is a surprise to him. He knows my first day. He knows my last day. I have to trust him. And that means less of me and more of Jesus in my life. My name is Jen Perez, and I'm a life changed by Christ as I learn to surrender everything to him.
Didn't part the sea so I could drown in open water. You never turn your back on me. You didn't give me sight so I could never see the promise. You're always working in the wings. And this is not the end of the story. And this is only just the beginning. Greater things are coming. Greater things are coming. Even while I'm waiting, I believe. From the moment that you speak till the promise is complete. Even while I'm waiting, I believe for greater things. You didn't take the cross so I'd forget that you are faithful. So let it never come to be. You didn't leave the grave to leave me at the sinner's table. And you have greater plans for me. And this is not the end of the story. And this is only just the beginning. Greater things are coming. Greater things are coming. Even while I'm waiting, I believe. From the moment that you speak till the promise is complete. Even while I'm waiting, I believe for greater things. For greater things. Your death was not the end. You're still moving and working. What you started in me, you say you would complete. If you're not done yet, then I'm not done yet. All the things that you've done tell the story of love. If you're not done yet, so I'm not done yet. What you started in me, you said you would complete. If you're not done yet, then I'm not done yet. All the things that you've done tell the story of love. If you're not done yet, so I'm not done yet. What you started in me, you said you would complete. If you're not done yet, then I'm not done yet. All the things that you've done tell the story of your great love. You're not done yet, so I'm not done yet. Come on, would you please stand as we continue to sing about the great hope that we have today and tomorrow in Jesus Christ. We say, greater things are coming, greater things are coming. Even while I'm waiting, I believe. From the moment that you speak till the promise is complete. Even while I'm waiting, I believe for greater things. For greater things. For greater things.
I want you to know this Easter He is not done yet with you. No matter what you've gone through, no matter what you've done, He is not done yet in your life. No matter what disappointments you brought in here and what disappointments have come your way, this is not the end of your story. What causes a woman like Jen, who is facing all that she is facing, to say with such authority and confidence, He has not failed me? No, I don't want this. No, it's not what I would have chosen. But even now, she said, He has not failed me. How is it that those others that you saw who have experienced disappointment so deep can still hold on to hope for greater things? I'll tell you. It's because they've made their decision. That even though they're disappointed, and even though it doesn't make sense, and even though it's not what they would have chosen, they believe. They believe that Jesus is who He said He was. The resurrection and the life. And there is only one who could make such a claim as that. There is only one who is able to lift us out of our shame and our sin. There's only one who entered into hell on our behalf and defeated all the forces of darkness and then walked out of that grave and beat death so we could live new lives in Him. And His name is Jesus. And you can have the peace and the hope that comes from knowing that although life will disappoint you, you will not be crushed by it. Because the one who holds the power of life and death will walk with you and live in you. And for some of you, it's time to reach out to the living God today and tell Him, maybe for the very first time, yes, I believe. How do you do that? You tell Him right now, wherever you are, just tell Him right now. You don't have to say it out loud, just say, He knows your heart. Just say, Jesus, I give my life to you. Tell Him right now, Jesus, I give my life to you. Tell Him right now, say, Jesus, I trust that what you have done on the cross has paid every debt I ever owed to you. And just say to Him right now, I trust you, Jesus, that you have forgiven me. And now I choose to follow you. And then what do? You come back. This is important. You come back. Next week, come back. You can join the people around you as we learn to walk in this newfound freedom in Christ. Listen, today, if you're choosing to believe, if you're making that choice today, if today you're choosing to place your life in the strong and loving arms of Jesus, we want to know so we can walk with you, so we can come alongside you. You can text TRUST. I'm asking you to do this. Would you please just text TRUST to 20022. Text the word TRUST to 20022 if you're making that choice today. We've got some resources we want to send you and support you as you walk, as you launch out on this incredible adventure now of following Jesus. Or if you want to, as soon as we're done here, we've got people, if you're in one of our rooms, people down front, the left, all of our rooms, who would love to pray with you, talk with you about anything, any questions you have, but just pray. They'll pray with you about anything, but if you want to come down, do that. And I know some of you are here and you're like, I don't want to stay any longer and inconvenience the people that I came with. Don't worry about them. They can wait. They can wait. And I promise you, they'd be happy to. Because this is about you, your Savior. He has greater things for you. He has greater things for you. And it can start today.